Hi everybody! I'm going to be channeling Aphrodite today. She's a real spirit consciousness in the universe, and her presence has been coming up, and would really love to see what messages she wants to share with our collective. So I'm going to relax and get tuned in, and we're going to see where this takes us. All right. Aphrodite. What is the most meaningful wisdom and healing that you could share with all of us today? So, this is interesting. Sometimes I see this. I don't know what it represents here, but there's a hand that starts from above and it goes down, and then it's like the sign of the cross, okay? So it's here from the top, goes down, and then actually from the left side goes across, and it just does this, okay? It's like the sign of the cross, the sign of the cross. And I see there's a piece of white paper that's kind of like a wall, and it's very easy to just cut the sign of the cross into this wall, okay? Now, this is the first scene, but beyond the scene, I can see quite clearly there's men hard at work. They actually have pickaxes. I don't know if they're mining for something. I'm not really sure how to make sense of the pickaxes because it seems like they're building a structure, not breaking it down. However, in the process of building it, they're using pickaxes and chipping it away. So the building of something is being chipped away at in the process of building it. All the while, the sign of the cross is cutting this paper that is also a wall. So what are you trying to tell us, Aphrodite? Let's see what she says next. How do we fix it? I mean, energetically, the translation is, how do we fix it? And naturally, my response is, fix what? I'm not even sure what's going on here. So if I don't know what's going on, then how can I conceive of fixing it? And she says, okay, well, we're talking about pickaxes in the process of building something. Seems to be breaking it down. So if we were to be honest with ourselves, what are our tools that we are working with in order to build something great? Are we building it or are we breaking it down? And it's almost like she's wanting us to work with perception. She really wants us to see things for the way they actually are and to ask questions for the way things actually are. So sometimes we'll see something and we'll just shrug our shoulders and say, I don't know. I don't know. But it's important that you acknowledge the details that you are witnessing and ask questions about what you are seeing. It's very important. It's kind of strange when you see a bunch of men with pickaxes in the process of building something. They are pickaxing away. I see chunks of the building material flying in every direction, and I don't really, are they mining a structure? It's like, it's the oddest thing. I can only ask myself, does this make sense? Does this make sense? If I were to say, no, this does not make sense, I am identifying something that does not make any sense. Do I have a right to say that that does not make sense? Yes, I do. Hi, can you help me understand why you're using these pickaxes? It looks like you're building a beautiful church or a beautiful castle. I mean, we're working with stone here and we're building something really special, something to be appreciated in time. Why are you using pickaxes? Maybe there's something I don't understand about the building of this that you could shine some light on it for me. And what Aphrodite shows me is that this man that apparently I really was talking to him. I was just imagining myself talking to him, but apparently I actually went and I actually said that to him. And he wasn't quite consciously aware of what he was doing either. We almost need to just tap on each other's shoulder and say, hey, are you aware that you're doing that? Maybe you can help me understand why you decided to do it like that. Maybe there's something I could use some help understanding. And then it opens a door for conversation and for growth. A communication that creates growth, that creates a better situation. Okay, so we're starting to interpret this. How do we fix it? I didn't realize that I was supposed to be part of fixing something. I guess I am part of fixing something. I'm starting to notice that what I see that doesn't make a lot of sense does hold value. I'm giving myself personal permission to acknowledge that something that I see doesn't make a whole lot of sense does have value. I can add value. So what's the sign of the cross? Like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. In this energy scene, I don't know what it means. I don't know why it's important. I don't know if it's symbolic. I don't know what it means. So I say, am I supposed to fix something about this? Is it not supposed to be doing that? Who is even doing it? I don't know. She says, pay attention. Like, pay attention. Like, you need to pay attention. And she's talking to all of us. We need to pay attention. We need to pay attention. She keeps really emphasizing this. You're seeing things. You can acknowledge what you see, and you can ask questions about what you are seeing. You have every right to say, I want to understand better. Help me understand better. Maybe there's something that I'm missing here. And then you empower the situation when you see, when you acknowledge the confusion, when you reach out and say, help me understand. Now we are opening the door to conversation, which is going to make everything better. Okay? So I'm going to continue to look at this first scene with the paper wall and this kind of just back and forth again and again, up, down, from top to bottom, from left to right, from top to bottom, from left to right, like repetitive. It keeps happening. Okay. Okay. Again, opportunity to ask questions. And then who am I asking a question? Like, who is a part of the why am I walking into this? I mean, obviously anyone could say, well, isn't that what Aphrodite is showing you? Aphrodite is showing me this, yes, but there are like unseen features. And it's for me to do the work to explore more of the unseen here in order to understand what it is that Aphrodite is trying to tell us. We have to do some work here to really explore and make sense of, and what we don't make sense of, we need to come out with it and say, hey, help me understand. You're not making anybody uncomfortable when you simply say, help me understand. And if there's someone who is open, they are going to be open to helping you understand, but they might be open to you sharing your side of it. That's what creates a beautiful conversation. You just go back and forth. This is what I experienced. Oh, this was what I experienced. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, okay, cool. And so she's really expressing basics, getting down to the basics of seeing, talking about what you see. If it doesn't make a lot of sense, acknowledge it doesn't make sense, and it's okay to come out with it. But this scene here is hard to know what to do with it. I mean, I could do anything. I could light it on fire. I could throw color on it. I mean, I could get my own box cutter and just cut a circle in it or something so that there isn't a cross anymore. I could change anything about it, but vibrationally it says no to changing it. It's asking me to let it stay as it is, but to investigate what I might be missing. And I keep thinking, who is doing this? Who is doing this? Who is this right, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom, left to right? Who is doing that action? So I ask the shape. I ask the creation of the shape. I ask the paper wall, who is doing this? I don't understand who's doing this. If I could know who is doing this, I could ask them a question. Somebody doesn't want me to see who they are. They want to do something, but they don't want anybody to see that they're the ones that are doing it. They just want you to see what they're doing, but don't see them. See what I'm doing, don't see me. See what I'm doing, don't see me. See what I'm doing, don't see me. So I literally go in straight up like Buddha position, and I just sit down in this like structure that's being built and being broken down at the same time by people who don't realize what they're doing. And I'm sitting down and I'm just like, I will see you. Om, om, I will see you. But energetically, it's just like, I don't know, energy power from the source. I will see you. And so I'm sitting down, I'm like working with the force to see. By choice, I'm doing this. But how I'm accomplishing it is I'm going inside of them and I'm removing their invisible paint. And from within them, I am also them, and I am saying I'm ready to remove my invisible paint. And I'm giving them the courage to come out and be who they are present in the world so we can see them and ask them questions. But there's people that don't want anybody to ever see them. They're never going to remove their invisible paint. You're going to keep looking at what they create, but not looking at them. And you're never going to connect the dots between who created this, you know, and why is it being created. You're just going to look at the creations. You're never going to look at the people who are doing the creating. So I stop time and they can't create anymore. There are several difficult processes here, okay? So I think you could parallel this message with the world today. And there's definitely motivations to create things that are not going to be in the best interest of building a better future for future generations. It's not bringing out the best in people. It's bringing out the worst in people. So, and it's not bringing out the worst in people for good reasons. It's actually bringing out the worst in people, and those people are never heard. Then they're shot down and put the duct tape over their mouth so that we can continue to encourage, I don't know, this idea or this movement or this societal new creation that we're going to implement. It's going to stick. It is going to be the future. But it's not built upon anything. It's not even strong in and of itself. It's built upon insecurity. It's not built upon love. So it's built upon the most vulnerable of all energies, which is insecurity, which is fear. It's built upon fear. So anything built upon fear is going to fall. I mean, it's inevitable. And so if it's built upon love, it's really solid and it's really strong. And love is something that of a process in and of itself. And sometimes it can be easy and sometimes it can be hard. We need to stop looking at what is being created. We need to stop looking at what is being created, but we need to look at the people who are creating it. They're not going to be invisible anymore. They're going to be exposed because we're not going to be looking in the wrong direction. It's like the magician in the sleight of hand. Ta-da! You don't see how the trick it happens because it's encouraging you to look in every direction but the one direction where I'm actually achieving the trick. And so it's talented and it's clever. Keep looking at the birdie. Keep looking at the birdie while I do this over here. Keep looking, I think the Wizard of Oz, the humbug right behind the curtain. Don't look at the humbug behind the curtain. Keep looking at this creation of this all-powerful God that is speaking to you. And so in our world, there's the creation of the all-powerful phenomenon that we need to be emotionally distraught. We need to be angry and upset about, but you're never really going to face or put the focus on, put the lens on, put the media on the real creator, the real magician, the real craftsman of this. Okay? Yeah, the paper and the cross thing doesn't actually matter so much as who's creating it. But the one who's creating it doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want anybody to notice them, doesn't want you to know who they are. So Aphrodite, I can remove this paper. I can remove the meaning of this. I can state that those who are unseen will now be seen. I can call upon the powers of my own soul to do this, and I do genuinely believe in myself. I do believe in making a statement of a profound kind can move things energetically. It can manifest events, and maybe it was a divine time anyway. I still see this isn't quite easy. Aphrodite says it is easy. The moment you choose to say, I want to see now, I don't want to see what's put before me. I actually want to see what's behind the scenes of what is being put before me. You will start to see what is behind the scenes because you are choosing to want to see. You are giving yourself permission to acknowledge, like these builders of the building, that, hey, something is not right here. This building is not going to be built because it's going to be broken down before it was ever built. Are you aware that that's what's happening? And it's not as if there's a real awareness sometimes of what we are building and we are breaking it down. And so there needs to be more of a desire to choose to see what's going on behind the scenes, to know that you will be allowed to see it. But what are you going to do when you start to see it? You can strike up a conversation and say, hey, can you help me understand? Very easy. You don't have to attack them and say, okay, that doesn't make any sense. What are you doing with a pickaxe, you fool? No, you say, help me understand. Maybe I'm missing something. Because it's okay if we think we know and we don't know. It's okay to be wrong, okay? So Aphrodite is showing me something else here, okay? This is even more difficult than these two scenes kind of overlapping. We're working through them and it feels very slow. This could also be paralleling some of the things that we're working through as a kind of a global level, collective level, and maybe in our individual lives, but I think on a bigger scale. And there's things that have to come out from hiding, that need to be exposed from hiding. And we need to start, washing the lenses of our own eyes, like start acknowledging, I want to see more. But what do I do with what I see? You strike a conversation, but it feels vibrational, like Aphrodite is taking me beyond these two images into something even more, and it feels quite dense. It feels difficult, okay? You know, when I was making, I'm preparing to make this video, I'm just like, Aphrodite, you're all about beauty and the beauty of things, and the sacredness of things, the sacredness of our bodies, the sacredness of our love for one another, the sacredness, okay? And I had this, I had this concept of how this was going to go, and it totally didn't go that way. But I really appreciate this message so far. So I'm still acclimating to what's beyond this, okay? And there's density to it. Vibrationally, I don't get the flavor of the sacredness and the beauty. I get the flavor of it's important that you open your eyes and that you use your voice and that you communicate with what doesn't make sense, but that you choose to see what is hiding behind the scenes as well. Just don't just point fingers at the forefront. You need to go beyond the forefront. This is really difficult in here. It's kind of it's hard to breathe. Very jam-packed and dense. It's like the things that we don't want to see, that we probably know are there. We just don't want to acknowledge it. We want someone else to resolve these conflicts. Everyday people resolving conflicts that other organizations should be managing, like human trafficking, child pornography, like anything that is highly inappropriate, highly desecrating, wrongness to human beings. And this energy is really vulnerable. And it's just this pocket. It's got to get popped, and we got to squirt the juices out of it, and we got to manage this sort of like infected thing, okay? And it's a gross thing. It's just a gross thing. It's full of spiders. It's like a mother spider, and I don't know if you've ever done this before, but we had a pool, and it was always spiders and always bees around it. And big old spiders would be around, and there was one time I accidentally stepped on the butt of this big mama spider, and it freaked me out because all these tiny little baby spiders were just swarming out of its body, and it was just the most grossest thing. And I don't like spiders. I'm not a fan of bugs, really. Like, I don't want spiders, I don't want bugs, that's just my thing, okay? And so we poke a needle in this gross, juicy, nasty thing, and it's like a cyst or something. It's just like, but the juice squirts out, and then from within the juice, all these little baby white spiders start like coming out like in the swarms. And it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Torch them all. But I can't torch them all. I just have to stop time because I gotta figure out, what am I looking at? What am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. So suddenly we're poking this thing with a stick, and yeah, it's doing something. And now we're swarmed with all these spiders, but it's not like I want to kill them. I just don't like them, but I don't want to kill them. I need help. So this is a scene. We could translate this scene into everyday human life. Oh my God, I poked it with a stick, and then bam, this drama happened, and I don't know what to do. I need to stop time so I can collect myself and figure out what to do. And in the energy world, we can do that. So I'm going to stop time and collect myself because I didn't know all those spiders were going to come out. I did not expect that. So, okay, Aphrodite says this. We must all one day agree that there are things in this world that will destroy us if we don't do something about it. You could say, you could say a virus could destroy the human race if we don't do something about it. So in that scenario, let's do nothing. Let's just let it destroy us. It's easy to interpret a virus. It's harder to interpret something like I'm walking in and I just see this cross thing. Like, I don't know how to understand this. What am I looking at? I could spend days and weeks and months and years trying to understand this weird phenomenon and do nothing but just try to make sense of this. It's only a distraction. Again, I could just walk on by, see people with pickaxes building a building and never ask the question. It's kind of like that saying they say, what do you put in a toaster? And most people would say toast, but you put bread in a toaster and then it creates toast, right? So it's one of those tricks. Like, you walk by, I see people with pickaxes building a building. Wait, you saw people with pickaxes building a building? Can we ask a question about that? So she's really asking us to open our eyes, go deeper, ask questions. And we need to start resolving where the infection in our society really is. And I don't feel that this is just a society of just one country over another country. I feel like we're more connected to one another than we've ever been. That the borders don't have to separate us because we're all human beings, right? And we all have the same kind of general needs. We all want to be loved. We want to be heard. We want to learn. We want to understand our world that we live in. We want to appreciate one another. I feel the human race is far more loving than it is portrayed as like its own virus, and we need to be controlled. If we aren't controlled, we'll be out of control. I don't know that I necessarily believe that. I believe people are genuinely good. And so I'm told that I need to kill all these spiders because these spiders represent, if I don't do something, then okay, it comes back to this phenomenon. And I've thought about this. I think it's open for conversation. Like, you guys can tell me what you think about this. So let's say that you're in the moment and somebody is going to kill your children if you don't do anything. So, and it's in the moment, they have a gun and you have the potential to make a move and try to take the gun away from this person, try to save your kids, it might end your own life. We don't know how this is going to happen. Are you going to stand there and do nothing? So we have to protect what is good, what is healthy, what is sacred, what brings longevity, what brings goodness to this world, and what does not bring goodness to this world. What is okay holding a gun to a child's head? Now that is a virus, that is an infection, that is a threat to the well-being of a human being. And so the people that are holding the invisible gun, the people that are threatening the well-being of humanity or the well-being of society needs to be held accountable. And whether that's the spider that we step on or we torture with the flames or we just hold it accountable, it has to be held accountable, but it has to be separated from the absorption into our day-to-day life, our livelihoods, our hearts, our children, our minds, this is an infection. This is a bad thing. We have to stand up against it. Otherwise, it will take over us and we will be absorbed into it. And I don't know what's going to be left. More baby spiders. And these baby spiders don't represent healthy nature. They represent the end of a planet, okay? The end of all of our dreams, the end of the human race. My heart is like really sad. I put all this I have this space timed out. I'm putting all the spiders together into one energetic form. Abbey, I alone, we need more people. We don't need more people to stand up for what they feel is the right thing to do. You ever learn as you were growing up what the right thing to do is? And it's not about, it's polite to have manners, say please and thank you, but the right thing to do is to help your friend. The right thing to do is to just stop what you're doing, go out of your way and do this. Like something in your heart's calling you to pull over and help that person on the side of the road that needs help. Like the right thing to do is an annoying thing, but you're going to better your life as well as the life of somebody else in the process of doing the right thing. And doing the right thing is oftentimes an eye roll, or it's not what you want to be doing, but it's the right thing to do. And something about more people need to remember what the right thing to do is. Go back to your Sunday school when you're a kid and remember what the right thing to do is. Not because the Bible told us so, or Jesus or God told us so, but because your heart knew what it was. Your heart knew what it was. We need to remember what the right thing to do is, and we need to hold ourselves accountable for following through with doing the right thing. This is really important. The right thing to do is to ask a question. The right thing to do is to not just spend all our time looking at what we're given, but actually look for what is hidden behind the scenes and to approach it. The right thing to do is say, this isn't healthy. This is not healthy at all. This isn't healthy for you. This isn't healthy for me. This isn't healthy for anybody. And then to identify this unhealthiness is actually an infection. If we don't hold these infections accountable, which they can be in our brothers and sisters, they're in our own family, they're everywhere in the world, is in people infected with some sort of inspiration that is not only harming them, it's harming everybody else. And they may not be strong enough or courageous enough to admit it. So you have to do the admitting it for them. You have to ask them the questions. And you have to expect them to hold themselves accountable. They might not be able to. That's why we need many people that know what the right thing to do is. It's not hard to know what your heart is asking of you. And now I started to see me becomes like a horseshoe of people standing here around this like person made out of baby spiders. And this person made out of baby spiders is really ruthless. They will kill every single one of us before they ever give up. But it's like the Care Bear share, you know? Is it Care Bear stare or Care Bear share? But all the Care Bears line up and they hold each other's hands and they use their light and they use their heart and they put their heart into whatever is struggling. Whatever is consumed by chaos, consumed by, greed or manipulation, or consumed by the ugliness, right? And they keep sending their light into it until it dissolves that energy. And then we see who is beneath the surface of it. An innocent person that lost their innocence to making the wrong decisions because they forgot how to be genuinely true to what is the right thing to do. They forgot how to live in the center of their heart as their identity. But I still see a lot of this taking place behind closed doors. Aphrodite showing me that where we feel like this isn't happening because it's not being told to us on the TV or the radio, this is actually happening in our world. Around the globe in our world, there are these like Care Bear stare events that are going on behind closed doors where we have a multitude of people standing up against one conglomerated mess that doesn't want to change, that doesn't want to give in, that doesn't want to do it any differently. But that has to be targeted. And that has to be mended and healed. And she wants all of us to know we are a part of this in day-to-day life, as well as this is going on behind closed doors, where you might not know that it is going on, but it is happening. And she wants you to believe in yourself as well as your fellow man and woman, your fellow brothers and sisters. And she says she loves us very much. And it's kind of like she could not love us. Like she loves us enough to tell us the truth. She loves us enough to show us this message. She loves us enough to be honest with us. We need to love each other enough to be honest with each other, even if it feels like brutally honest. And it's okay to be nice to each other and say, I really like that about you. I honestly love that about you. That's really nice to hear too. When we can be honest with each other in a complimentary way, but honest with each other in a way that's a little uncomfortable. Doesn't make you the bad guy. Makes you courageous enough to be honest. So Aphrodite wants to show us this. What do you guys think about this? I hope you enjoyed the message. If any of you would be interested in exploring a session with me, I would love to share psychic wisdom, energy healing for you and your individual life. You can book a session at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. Have a great day, everybody.